In today's BitSize French, let's take a look at French negation patterns such as ne pas and more. First of all, let's spot some negations in some sentences. The first one is pendant la pandémie, on n'a plus pu voyager à l'étranger. So during the pandemic, we no longer can travel abroad. So if you take a look at that structure, the negation structure, n'a plus pu. N'a plus pu. So we actually put the ne plus surrounding the avoir there. The second one is je lui ai dit de ne pas sortir le soir. Je lui ai dit de ne pas sortir le soir. So I told him or her not to go out in the evening. So the negation structure here is ne pas sortir. If you pay attention, the ne pas is used together in front of sortir. The third one is ensuite, j'ai essayé plusieurs robes, mais aucune ne me plaisait. Then, j'ai essayé plusieurs robes. I tried many dresses, but aucune ne me plaisait. Nothing really pleases me. So we dropped pas here. We don't use ne pas. We just used aucune ne me plaisait. The fourth one is et devine quoi? Guess what? Personne n'a téléphoné ce jour-là. So no one called that day. So here again, we dropped the pas here. Personne n'a téléphoné ce jour-là. So personne n'a is the negative structure, but we drop pas. So the fifth one is j'avais peur qu'elle ne vienne sans prévenir. J'avais peur qu'elle ne vienne sans prévenir. So I'm afraid that she would come without warning. So here, even though we use ne vient sans, this is actually not a negative structure. So we will look, so these, all of these five are different types of using negative structures, and we're going to take a look at the patterns one by one. The first key pattern is using usage of the negative in the basic and compound tenses. In simple sentence, we just use the ne pas surrounding the main verb. For example, ils ne peuvent pas venir, so they can't come. Ils ne peuvent pas venir. So we just surrounded the peuvent, which is the main verb, with the ne and pas. Ils ne peuvent pas venir. In compound tenses like the past tense, we usually put the ne and ne plus surrounding the auxiliary part. For example, on n'a plus pu sortir. We could no longer go out. On n'a plus pu sortir. We actually put the ne and then plus surrounding the avoir, not the pu. So we always put the ne and then plus surrounding the auxiliary part. So the tip here is we never wrap the ne and then pas surrounding the past participle, for example, the pu. We always put it with the auxiliary. On n'a plus pu sortir. We no longer go out. So that's the key pattern number one. Now let's take a look at key pattern number two with negations with infinitives. When using an infinitive, for example, sortir in our previous example, we place the ne pas together in front of the infinitive. For example, je lui ai dit de ne pas sortir le soir. I told her not to go out in the evening. So we said, je lui ai dit de ne pas sortir le soir. So ne pas goes together right before the infinitive sortir. Ne pas sortir. Je lui ai dit ne pas sortir le soir. So negations with infinitives, we put ne pas together in front of the infinitive. So that's the key pattern number two. So key pattern number three is usage with personne, rien, aucune, or aucun. So negative words like we don't use pas in these situations. For example, aucune ne me plaît. No one of them pleases me. So aucune ne me plaît. So aucune itself is negative already. Ne me plaît, we actually don't use the pas at the end. We don't say aucune ne me plaît pas. If you do that, it's going to be double negative, so it's going to be incorrect. So we just say aucune ne me plaît. None of them pleases me. Similar to aucune, here personne also does not use pas. Personne ne peut décider seul. No one can decide alone. Personne ne peut décider seul. So no one can decide alone. We don't put the pas at the end. So ne goes with the verb. No pas is needed here. So rule is don't say ne, personne, pas. One negative word is enough. Don't use the second one. So the pattern number three is the usage with personne, rien, aucun, aucune. Okay, the pattern number four is the usage of oral and some formal exceptions. In spoken French, ne is always often dropped. For example, j'ai pas faim. J'ai pas faim. I'm not hungry. So in formal writing, some verbs drop pas. For example, je n'ose lui dire. I don't dare tell him. Because we use the word oser, je n'ose lui dire, we actually don't use pas there. Je n'ose lui dire. The second example is il ne cesse de parler. He won't stop talking. Because we use the verb cesse, we didn't use pas in formal writing. Il ne cesse de parler. So the tip is in speech, drop ne. In formal writing, some verbs like oser or cesser, verbs like these will drop pas. So that's the pattern number 4. The next pattern we're going to look at is le ne sans négation. So this is just, even though we use ne in the sentence, it actually is just stylistic. It actually does not have a negative meaning. For example, j'ai peur qu'elle ne vienne. J'ai peur qu'elle ne vienne. So I'm afraid she might come. Even though we use ne in front of the verb there, it actually means positive. J'ai peur qu'elle ne vienne. So I'm afraid she might come. So the second example is avant qu'il ne soit trop tard. Before it's too late. Avant qu'il ne soit trop tard. Ne soit is used there. However, it's actually positive. Before it's too late. Avant qu'il ne soit trop tard. Il est plus grand que tu ne le crois. He's taller than you think. Il est plus grand que tu ne le crois. He's taller than you think. So in these expressions, ne is actually not negative. It's just formal style. So learn these patterns. So now let's quickly recap what we've learned in this video. So ne pas surrounds conjugated verbs, but not the past participle. So personne and aucun replaces pas. No double negations. We don't use pas in these structures. So with infinitives, we replace ne pas together before the verb. And in spoken French, ne is often disappears. And in formal writing, pas sometimes does too. And the ne can always be purely stylistic. No need to panic.
That's it for today. Always learn more was less. Hit subscribe and don't miss out on daily videos.